In this video, I'm going to be solving a question involving the equation of motion. On the board, the question says, a body falls freely under gravity from a height of 40 meters on the top of a platform 0.8 meters above the ground. Its velocity on reaching the platform is, given that gravity is equal to 10 meters per second squared. The first thing we have to look out for in this question is to know the kind of motion involved. This is a question involving motion. So what kind of motion is involved? Is it vertical motion or horizontal motion? In this case, this involves gravity, that is object falling from a height. So we say this involves a vertical motion. Now the next thing is that we need to list out all the values given in the question. From the question it says a body falls freely under gravity from a height of 40 meters. From a height of 40 meters on the top of a platform 0.8 meters above the ground. Now we need to draw our motion diagram. Let's assume this is the top and this is the ground. So the object falls from here on the platform, which is 0.8 meters. 0.8 meters above the ground. So let's assume this to be our platform, which is 0.8 meters, and this is the height from which the object, the body, is falling, which is 40 meters, as given in the question. Now the next thing is that we need to find the value of the height of the motion, because 40 meters is never the height of the motion, just as the 0.8 meters is not the height of the motion. So height of motion is the difference between 40 meters and the 0.8 meters, which is the distance from this point to this point. And that's going to be 40 minus height of motion, 40 minus 0.8, which is equal to 39.2 meters. This is the height of motion. So another value we need to write down given the question is the gravity. The gravity, that's the acceleration, is equals to positive gravity, which is equals to plus 10 meters per second squared. So the gravity given in the question is 10 meters per second squared. These are the two values given in the question. The height of motion, which is gotten from difference of the height from which the object is falling and where it landed, which is 39.2 meters, and the acceleration due to gravity given the question, which is 10 meters per second. And the reason why we are having positive gravity here is because the object is falling from a height. That is, the object is in the direction of gravity. If the body is projected upward, or if the body is thrown upward, it's going to be having a negative gravity, which is minus g, because it is, when going upward, it is going against the direction of gravity, and the work of gravity is to what? Bring object downward. So the direction of gravity is downward. So that's the reason why we are having positive gravity, because the object is moving downward. If otherwise, that is, if the object is thrown upward, we are going to be having a negative gravity. So let's move on. Now these are the values given directly from the question. What other values are given, or what are the indirect values in the question? From the principles I mentioned in the last video, where I mentioned that we have three principles to get which can be used to know the indirect values given in the question. For example, number one is when an object starts from rest, its initial velocity is 0. When an object comes to rest or stops, its final velocity is 0. And when an object is moving with a constant velocity in a straight line, its acceleration is 0. In this case, the object falls freely under gravity from a height. That is, initially the object was at rest before falling freely under gravity. So since the object was at rest initially, we consider our initial velocity here to be 0. The object was at rest initially before it starts moving, though it wasn't indicated in the question that the object was at rest initially. But from our understanding of the question, which says a body falls freely under gravity from a height. From a height, that is, before it started falling from here, it was initially at rest. So our initial velocity is going to be 0, because the body starts from rest. Now, these are the values we are having now in the question. We have the height of motion, we have the acceleration, and we have the initial velocity, and we are asked to find the final velocity. which is unknown. Now let's write out the three equations of motion, and let's say which is going to be the best option to be used. The first one is v is equals to u plus 80. The second one is s is equals to ut plus half 80 squared. And the third one is v squared is equals to u squared plus 2as. Now in this case, the best of the three equations which can be used to get the final velocity we are looking for is the third equation of motion. Yes, the third equation of motion, because the question involves height of motion, acceleration, initial velocity, and the final velocity. So we have all our values here. Final velocity, which is an unknown value, initial velocity u, acceleration this, and the height of motion. Sorry, here it's going to be h because we are dealing with vertical motion. We are dealing with vertical motion. If you are dealing with horizontal motion or linear motion, we will be using s, that is horizontal distance, while h is representing vertical distance. So using the third equation of motion, v squared is equal to u squared plus 2ah. So now we will be making our substitution. Our v stands for, our v is unknown, which is unknown element. Our u is 0 squared, 2 times acceleration, which is our positive gravity, 10 meters per second squared, and our maximum height 39.2. So v squared is equal to 0 squared, that will be taken out of it, 2 times 10 times 39.2. Multiplying these three together, we are going to have 784. 2 times 10, 20. 20 times 39.2 is going to give us 784. 784. So take the square of both sides. V squared is equal to 784. By taking the square of both sides, or square root both sides, we are having, this cancels out this. So we are having v is equal to square root of 784. Therefore, v is equal to 28 meter per second. So the final value of the velocity is 28 meter per second. So the velocity on reaching the platform, from this height to this point is 28 meter per second. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. Thanks very much.